Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name is SprinkleBeard, and we stream over at twitch.tv/SprinkleBeard pretty much every day from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're looking for interaction, or if you want to be able to ask questions and have, a back and forth, that's the best place to find me. Otherwise, leave your questions in the comment section down below, and as I see comments, I will respond to them and try to help you out on your raid journey. So, as you see from the title of this video, today we are talking about how to gear up a, I'm not sure how I'm going to phrase this yet, like a more defensive support or a standard support. And what we mean by that is, in most games, we focus on supports as these champions who have abilities to either heal, shield, buff, or debuff people. And I don't want to say that they are passive by any means, but they will kind of do their things. We don't necessarily depend on their damage output. So we are going to be focusing on a non-aggressive support for today's video. We have chosen Duhr the Hungerer because I have a Faction Wars thing that I need to get to today anyways, and Duhr here is completely naked. So first, before we gear up any champion, it is most important for us to review the champion and understand that for us to understand what this champion does, that we have a good understanding of that. So Aura increases ally defense and faction crypts by 30%. So for any newer players, just to make this aware, when they give you a specific location, that means this aura only works in that location. So the faction crypts is anything Faction Wars, right? If you're in Faction Wars and you have Duhr as your lead, this will work. Otherwise, he doesn't give off this aura effect. This aura effect is not bad. For Faction Wars, you really are picking and choosing, and it's much harder to get the proper auras up front that you want. So this overall is a very good aura. It's just unfortunate that it's limited only to faction crypts. Hungry for More revives 2 random allies with 50% HP and then fills their turn meters by 50%. Very good skill, right? Good revival skill. I'm glad that they're adding more revivers into the game. This way, when somebody gets a support like Duhr, who, by the way, I think is one of the most badass looking champions in the game, it's really, really nice that he can revive too. And then I like the fact that he has these 2 little like demon dolls, and then he revives too. It's very tasteful. It's extremely well done. Cannibal Litany places a 30% reflect damage buff on all allies for 2 turns, and a continuous heal buff on all allies for 1 turn, and then heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. Overall, good skill. I do wish the continuous heal was 2 turns, but the fact that he has an immediate heal in this skill, it makes sense. It's very flavorful as well. The fact that you can get this down to a very respectable 3-turn cooldown means you could have your reflect damage up almost, all the time on your party. Reflect damage in this game is meant to be the counter to the leech debuff. So if your opponents are stealing life from you and that's annoying you, reflect damage can mitigate either the vampire set, as I call it, or like the lifesteal set, or things like the leech debuff being on you, or if your allies or your enemies just heal when attacking your party. Reflect damage is a great way to counter some of that. There are champions like Vrask who will get around it, or other healers that can just heal up the party that, make it frustrating. But overall, we have a very good support kit here, right? We have reviving allies. I would have liked any type of defensive up here as well. Maybe even over the continuous heal, if it was even like a 30% defense up, would have been fine. It is what it is though, right? And then Odious Bulk attacks 1 enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. So we have 2 skills here that do not require any accuracy, and 1 skill with a hard CC that does require accuracy. So overall, I think I am going to build him with accuracy, because if he does land that stun, it's very meaningful. if I didn't need the stun, right? Let's say my demon faction is absolutely amazing. So I'm going to organize by faction here. We'll scroll on down. I do have things like an AoE provoke. So for that reason, I might not need it. I do have turn meter burn. So maybe I don't need the stun. Here he has an AoE provoke as well. Padma has an AoE attack down, which would be good. So to be honest with you, I kind of don't need the stun. I could build him with 0 accuracy. Typically though, I wouldn't encourage you guys to do that. So let's do the right thing today. I've already done enough wrong things in videos. Let's do the right thing today. And for some reason I leveled him to 40 and then just stopped leveling him. What am I doing on this account? All right, first things first. What we care most about is speed. Because of his skills and their longer cooldowns, we want him to be as quick as possible so that he is constantly getting off this Cannibal Litany, that if I need to revive somebody, his turn comes up the moment that they die so that he can just resurrect them back with 50% of their turn meter. And then, yeah, and in all honesty, because we're building him fast anyways, this makes more sense that we would want accuracy on him so that when he's not using Cannibal, he has a chance to stun and just let people heal up. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So what we're going to do is we are going to start off with boots, and we primarily always want speed boots. Now, on any other support, I might just care about defense percentage and HP percentage. But again, I do, and then resistance. So these boots would be the perfect boots for him to make him more bulky, more resistant to any type of damage. And, you know, we want that primary speed stat boot. Because I want accuracy on him here, I am going to look and see if I have anything else. I don't. So we're going to use up these boots. This works out quite well for him. So there we go. Boots are on. When it comes to defensive supports, right? So he only has 1 attack. I am not counting on this attack to do a lot of damage, right? That is not a primary concern that we have for Duhr the Hungerer here. So with that being said, I typically want to, with his gloves and armor, I would want one of them to be HP percentage and the opposite one to be defense percentage. Now, because I don't have Duhr 6-star here, we're going to quickly go and look at his stats to see if he has one stat that I should favor more than the other. So for instance here, he has a very healthy HP stat at 17,000. An average for me is about 15,000 at the moment that I'm recording this video. But he also has a very healthy defensive stat. He has a healthy attack stat too. That's interesting. I wonder how much damage this does. We're not going to focus on damage though. So overall, I definitely want to invest in both. Something that might sway my opinion, let's say he had 20,000 health and then like less than like 800 defense. If any one of those two criteria were met, I might then focus more on the HP. Or if his HP was only 15,000, but his defense was like 1,100 or 1,200, I might focus more on defense since that's like flat damage mitigation. So, in the case of this support, I think it would be best for his gauntlets and his armor for one of them to be HP percentage and then the opposite one to be defense percentage. So what I'm going to start off with is HP percentage, and then substats. I want things on him like speed and accuracy. And then because I'm on HP percentage, I would like defense percentage as well. I do not have the gear that meets this criteria, which is very unfortunate. So let's see if I take one off. So I have some gear that matches that, some gear that matches that. Perception gear is not something I would want to waste on him since he only has one skill that takes advantage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forego the accuracy because like I said, I'm not sold on whether or not I want to care too much here. But yeah, both these perception gears I do not want to use on Duhr. I absolutely don't want to use on him. So I'm going to take off the defense percentage. I'm going to go for speed and accuracy. And now here we go. We have a lot more options. Here we have an already completed gauntlet with 2 rolls on speed and accuracy. This is perfect. I'm pretty much only using Duhr for faction wars at the moment, so I'm not going to have to go too hard on him. Otherwise, I could use something like this. He would take small advantage of that attack stat. And here he would have crit damage. We definitely don't want to waste on a support who we are not counting on any crit damage or any damage from. We definitely would not want to give him any crit damage. That's a stat we want to keep as low as possible. So we are going to go with these stalwart gloves. Now, because those were HP percentage, let's switch over to defense percentage. And the reason why no artifacts will ever match, oh wow, that's a shame. But we want a chestplate specifically, and wow, really? So unfortunately, this is just a very hard commodity, apparently, that I am in desperate need of. So Duhr might have to forego a chestplate. I might have to go farming for him for a bit. I could steal this one off of Jurang and maybe give Jurang something different. I actually am going to do that. Jurang here, he's an attack champion anyways, and these stats are a lot better. I might have done this to make him survive longer, but I'd rather Duhr have all these proper stats. These are all good stats for Duhr. So we'll shift that over, and I'll have to remember to re-equip Jurang at some point. I've been doing this a lot lately. Anyways, so when we talk about a weapon for a support champion, and we're not aiming for them to do damage, right? This is where foregoing things like crit rate and crit damage actually matter for us. This is where we definitely want resist and accuracy, maybe HP percentage. And lo and behold, here we have like a weapon that was already plus 16. Now, I don't want to take Saurus's weapon, and it has crit rate on it, and the rolls are on crit rate. So we're not going to steal this weapon away. Let's look at other weapons here. This is a very odd weapon for her. I wonder if I was just forcing her to have a 6-star weapon. Like, the accuracy is not bad for her, but all these other stats suck for her. But weapons like this is a perfect weapon of having a lot of resistance and HP, because on a support like this, we care more about him constantly getting off his skills more than anything. So him having a higher resistance is going to be better. So I'll probably leave that weapon on her. But that's something that I can easily fix to make her a lot better. I've done some weird things in this game, apparently. So here I have no direct set bonuses that I was trying for. This is just ironic that these two sets work together. Those two pieces work together. But it would be the same thing, right? Look through your gear, see what makes sense. See if you have a legendary piece that maybe, like this is a perfect example, where it has just a bunch of HP and stuff on it, but every little bit of HP will help on this champion, but it wasn't like the goal, right? It's not something that we were focused on. I would much rather have a set like this that increases her HP, his or her, I'm calling Duhr a female, giving them all these stats. Now here we have crit damage, so again, we're going to try to avoid that. This would be a better weapon for us, so I think I'm going to equip this. And then this even has attack percentage, which Duhr could take advantage of. So tell you what, I'll use this one since Duhr can use every single stat here to advantage. Next, when we go to helmets, right? This is where your pairings are going to depend on you. I definitely am going to prefer HP percentage and defense percentage, and then like speed or accuracy well over resist. Duhr's kit is not amazing enough that we want to heavily focus on resist, but Duhr's that example of if you have a healer or a shielder, somebody who you always want them getting off their skill, it would be important for you to have a high level amount of resistance on your team, or not on your team, but on your character. So let's see if we can do accuracy and resist. No. Accuracy and speed. So unfortunately, a couple of characters already have some of these stats. Unfortunately as well, these characters are built for very, very specific things. I would be very strapped to remove something like this from these characters. So we are not going to do that. We'll just have to look at some other pieces here. So HP, defense percentage, and accuracy, very good piece. I do want this set bonus. I will say this is a champion where I think them having a higher set bonus is only going to be advantageous. Here, this legendary version has crit damage on it, and again, I don't want that on her specifically, so we're going to go with this purple version instead. In other videos, I have heavily stressed this, but before equipping gear, a lot of the times it's best for you to upgrade it to at least +8 or eventually +12. I hear you. When I get done this video, I'll take you outside. Okay? Can you just wait a few more minutes? Typically, I would encourage you to +12 certain gear, because let's say you equipped, well, I've already +16 a bunch of this gear, and I see that the rolls landed on speed. But if you were equipping these gauntlets and you needed more speed on your Duhr, obviously, if you get 2 rolls on accuracy, that base like 4 or 5 speed would not have mattered nearly as much as taking a piece of gear and rolling it up. I'm also seeing that Duhr has a much slower speed than I anticipated. I thought with these gears having speed rolls on it, she would be in a better place, but she's not. So for that reason, because I want my Duhr to be fast, here I'm going to much more heavily focus on getting the right stats. So since some of this other gear, like the helmet, I got HP and defense percentage, I could let these go. Sunday, can you wait? I can let the defense percentage and HP percentage go to focus on things like speed, accuracy. Maybe I even want resist, right? Maybe I'm like, oh, I do want her to be more resistant to any debuffs. Unfortunately, I don't really care about that. Here's a very weird shield. I don't know who I would ever equip this to, because it's from the vampire set and it's got very, very defensive stats on it. For a support, this is the perfect shield to use up on her. I hear you. Relax. So when it comes to rings and amulets, because I don't care for this character to get any damage, right? We want to focus much more on a ring that has a primary stat of either defense or HP percentage, and then with substats that would match that. So specifically here, I'm looking for like an HP with an HP percentage substat, or a defense with defense percentage. Ironically enough, Duhr could take advantage of the attack stat. So maybe I do want to look for a ring that has like all the best stats on it. And I have no ring that meets that requirement. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to focus more on this damage mitigation. So defense with defense percentage. And again, normally I should be rolling these rings before equipping them, because let's say all the rolls land on this flat HP or attack, it's going to make giving her these rings not nearly as good. Sunday Bear. I'm so sorry if you guys can hear my dog. And if you can't, please enjoy me being frustrated about her in the background. So lastly here, for the amulet, we do not need a crit damage amulet. Now, in another video, we discussed that crit damage amulets are pretty much the basic way to go. Extremely valuable. In this case, this is the one exception where I don't care about their damage output. I care much more about their survivability. So we're going to look to see if I have saved up an amulet that is defense or HP as a main stat. and I have not. So I'm not going to equip any of these to her. If I wanted to, I would look for things like accuracy and resistance in the substats. So like this amulet would be the amulet I would potentially equip to her, giving her more accuracy so that she can stun, and giving her more resistance so that she blocks any incoming debuffs. And then when it would come to a banner, it's up to you what you would do. I'm favoring more resistance on her because she's a healer. And even though this stun would be good if it lands, so having that extra accuracy would be good, because she has 2 other skills that don't require accuracy, I personally would lead more towards the resistance side of banners, so that I know that Duhr could always get off her ability. And likewise from gearing, if let's say I love Duhr and I'm like, oh man, I want her to be wildly amazing, this is where I would maybe, as I'm getting more purple and legendary gear, I might focus more on speed, accuracy, HP percentage, defense percentage, and resistance, and just make her as truly thick and bulky and as untouchable as possible, so that my opponents feel like they can never get her down. Or as they're trying to get her down, my nukes, right? They're just going off and doing all their damage. And that will be it for this video. I'll kind of keep this shorter because I have to do an attack support coming up shortly here. But I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that understanding, looking through the kit and being like, okay, do I want accuracy? Do I want damage? When they only have 1 attacking skill that only attacks 1 enemy, maybe we don't want crit rate or crit damage on them. There's no extra bonuses if this attack crits. Some newer supports have something like that. But it's something to consider, is to look through their skills and be like, okay, I definitely want to get these skills off as frequently as possible. So speed and resistance kind of comes to the forefront, but we want the bulk. We want as much defense percentage and HP percentage so that Duhr can just be this immovable rock the way that she looks. So guys, again, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like and subscribe button down below. If you feel like I did a good job, please let me know down in the comment section below, or tell me if there's a champion that you're struggling to gear up, and maybe I'll do a one-on-one tutorial with you. If you want to interact with me, if you like the way that I talk about this game and try to focus on new player concepts, please consider joining us over at twitch.tv/SprinkleBeard. We are getting surprisingly close to 300 followers. I'm at 283 at the time of recording this video. So if you would like to help us reach that immediate goal of 300, please stop on by. Thank you guys for watching. Happy pulling of shards and such. And until that next time, ta-ta.